I've talked about the experience with a therapist. It was a lot easier to start talking about after going to counseling and everything, kind of working through stuff. But I still don't really talk about it in depth or anything. So my experience with sexual assault has been while in a relationship. It was realizing that, like, after the fact, that it was actually sexual assault and that it's not just part of being in a relationship, and how my partner was acting wasn't a healthy thing. For me, when I was in a relationship, there's a lot that you don't realize because you're so emotionally attached to someone. And on top of that, there's usually a lot of emotional abuse and manipulation. And so you think that you just want to please your partner and you want everything to be okay. And so you just kind of go along with things that you may not be aware of, or even if you are feeling really uncomfortable, you don't make a big deal out of it. There's been multiple occasions where I was able to realize after getting out of the relationship that even if it is with your partner or with someone that you've known for a really long time, like, you can still be forced to have non-consensual sex. I think it takes seeing a healthy relationship and kind of getting to step back from everything to be able to look back and be like, it's not how a relationship should be. And so it took me getting, like, into a healthy relationship and kind of starting to work through everything to, like, I guess, be aware that I have dealt with sexual assault. To me, like, I think being a survivor isn't just working through what you've been dealing with and getting past everything. I think it's also helping other people work through their things. So I think it can be as basic as just being like, okay, like, you're able to get out of bed in the morning and keep moving forward and go to work and keep doing your everyday life. And I think just that moving forward after something has happened just kind of keeps you surviving in that basic way. And then after that, I think if you can use that to reach out and to help out other people and to kind of just encourage others, just bringing up that you are a survivor of sexual assault, other people feel comfortable talking to you. You find out, sadly, more about your friends and about people that you know that have also dealt with trauma. And I think it gives an opportunity for people to kind of, I don't know, like, see if they relate, and then to realize that maybe they've been dealing with stuff as well. So, yeah. I graduated almost a year and a half ago from college, and so I'm working in San Jose as a paraeducator, getting my teaching credential, and just am 100% interested in going to teaching, and I definitely feel like I've found the area that I absolutely love doing. And so I think for me, a big part of my life now is I'm actually very content with how things are. I feel like I've found the job area and I'm kind of starting on that track of my career and knowing that what I want to do, and I've kind of found that. Just overall right now in my life, I'm actually really happy with how things are going. But then there also, I mean, like, with my depression, there's also days and rough patches and stuff. I think it's a lot of just kind of teaching my house self how to be an adult and how to get through the world and how to carry everything with me. I do visual art. My degree was in psychology and art, and it's just always been a huge method for me for dealing with my depression when that first started, like, years ago, and definitely going through a lot of things. It's a really good outlet for me. I paint, I draw, I use different types of mediums, and it usually, like, depending on what I'm doing, like, a lot of the art can be kind of darker, but that's just kind of a way of getting all my feelings out on paper. For my capstone, I did an art therapy workshop with mask making, where everyone that participated physically put the emotions you're feeling onto a mask using different items like nails or beads or colors and feathers and different stuff like that. And I think that was really good for me because it was just a chance to, like, take how I see my emotions and coping with things and, like, physically have them on the masks where other people can see it. And so I think the best healing thing I've had is painting, because with painting, like, you can almost be like violent with it, I guess you could say. You can choose like really intense colors. The way you are brushing on things can be really like physical, and you can brush really hard, or you can like just paint on a 6 by 6 foot canvas, just like get paint everywhere. It's a very physical way of like manifesting your whatever emotions you need to get out. I've done a couple pieces that have focused around women and kind of, I guess, would be my interpretation of my experiences and just women's experiences in general, because I'm also a huge feminist, and that's a huge part of my identity as well. I think it's really important that women are represented in art, and I think art can be an interesting way for people to look at things. It gives them a visual representation of someone's experience, essentially, and so they can, and the thing with art is that anyone can interpret whatever they want from the piece. So I think growing up in Northern California and going camping like every summer and living kind of towards in the country when I was younger, like just always being outside, I think once you kind of start off with that, like it becomes such a big part of your life. And so for me, like nature is just so cleansing, and there's just something about being able to like get outside of the city and get away from people and just being able to be in nature and see like a lake or go to the ocean. And I think for me, it became sort of like if I were to go to church, that's what it would be. It would be go out in the woods and go out and experience something like that. Go backpacking, because it is a very spiritual experience. You feel very alone and very like young in a way if you're just around all these old trees that have been there forever, and like it's this part of this unchanged earth that you're experiencing. It's just really cool to sit in the woods and be like, this hasn't been touched by people in like thousands of years. I've always like lived in an area where I can go hike or backpack or just go sit on the beach even. And I definitely notice like if living in the city now, if I go for a week or two without getting to be outside, like I physically start to feel it. Like I get really stressed, and like my chest just gets really tight, and it's just not a good feeling. And I notice like the second I can go out on a walk or like go to the beach or something, like I just instantly feel better. I just like being outside like as much as possible. Like if I can drink my morning coffee outside on the porch, like I will. If I can go paint outside, I totally will. It's a huge part of my identity, definitely. One of the things that you have when you go to therapy for your homework is you're told to figure out like what like your top 10 like self-care things are. I think just that forced me to kind of think about my life and like what my priorities are, and like what things are really important to me that I can't go without. And it definitely is like reading a book and like painting and going out in nature and then being around friends as well. But I've found that a lot of my like self-care things are all pretty solitary, and that like I think 'cause I do really enjoy spending time by myself. So I think being kind of forced to figure out what the big influences on my life are kind of helped me realize that like art is a really important thing, and knowing that if I don't get out and go on a walk at some point like in the next couple days, like I'm going to be really stressed out. It really kind of like cements your personality. And I think if you start to learn who you are as a person and you are confident in that and you're okay with that, I think it makes getting through your experiences, like whatever they are, positive or negative, a lot easier. And so if you just learn to be happy with your present self, despite everything that you've been through, I think it makes it easier to kind of start dealing with everything and moving on past everything. A negative experience is negative, and it was damaging in some way, and like being okay with that. But I think for me, it was being able to kind of take those experiences and find how they've helped me who I am now, and then just being happy with myself now. I think just having a lot of support has helped. I mean, just I've been really lucky in that I have had a lot of support with from my parents and from my friends and everything, and having them understand me and being supportive of that. And just kind of if I have a like a weak moment where I need to break down or something, like knowing that they'll be there for that is really helpful. I think it's really important that women and just people in general are able to share their experiences that they've had, because it really allows us to kind of create a safe space for people to come forward that may not have anyone to talk to in their lives about an experience that they had. They may not know that whatever their experience was isn't something that should be happening or isn't something that's normal. And if they have a space to kind of listen to people's stories and to talk with other people about their past experiences, it kind of gives them the opportunity to start healing and start moving on past everything.